everybody. Son of Pawcast. I'm Brandon. Jesse is going to be reading the whole menu.
No, thank you.
Read the menu.
Okay.
Monday, March 18th, waffles. Tuesday, March 19th, breakfast pizza. Wednesday, March 20th, donuts. Thursday, March 21st, breakfast burrito. Friday, March 22nd, Long John. Monday, March 18th, fiasada, green beans, fruit and veggie bar. Tuesday, March 19th, hamburger, french fries, chocolate cake, fruit and veggie bar. Wednesday, March 20th, we got the breakfast for lunch, fruit and veggie bar. Thursday, March 21st, pulled pork, baked beans, fruit and veggie bar. Friday, March 22nd, cheese calzone, cheesy broccoli, fruit and veggie bar.
If you already know, Starting Room Crisis help is available. Call or text 988 or chat the 988 Lifeline or to reach the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. The Extension Office is seeking a 4-H programming summer intern. You must be at least 16 years old to apply. Position will be paid. Reach out to Tessa at the Extension Office at the phone number and email in the announcements. The Neely Mill is accepting applications for a tour guide position this summer, starting Memorial Day, Tuesday, Saturday. 28 hours per week, pay is $12.85 per hour. Must be 16 years old. Apply online at statejobs.nebraska.gov. High school band, we're leaving for NVC and Verdigris. We're leaving after first hour, and we're going to be gone the rest of the day. Parents, the concert will be at 5:30. The Village of Orchard is still holding their positions open. Youth wrestling, please get your singlets turned in. Seniors, make sure you're getting your photos to Miss Funk. All right, for Monday, March 25th, we got the NHS induction ceremony. The 26th, we got the golf try at Summerlin at 4. The 27th, we have FBLA blood drive at Ewing and the NACC Scholastic Contest. Jesse, finish us off.
Well, Thursday, March 28th, we got the ACT test. ACT test.
Kill me now.
For juniors, the elementary Easter egg hunt. Friday, March 29th, no school, Easter break.
Esther.
Monday, it's April 1st, we have no school again because of Easter break.
And up next is
And Chase's Elementary Pawcast.
That was horrid.
Barretts sports segment at 3:13. I don't know what that means.
Season 3, episode 13.
This is the furry.
Hello, Summerlin. I'm Barrett with the Summerlin Pawcast Sports segment, and this week it's another 3-show segment lined up for you with weekly review. Then we have top 10. Then we have game time. So let's get into our first segment of the day, which is going to be weekly review. So our first segment is weekly review, and of course last week I just made some picks in college basketball, so we're going to go over those right now. First off, number 16, Alabama beat Arkansas 92-88. Number 10, Creighton beat Villanova 69-67. Number 15, Kentucky upsets number 4, Tennessee 85-81. Number 1, Houston absolutely demolishes Kansas. They were ranked 14 at the time, 76-46. And number 7, Carolina beat Duke 84-79. We don't have to talk about that game. I ended up going 3-2, so not a bad week, but nothing great either. So a very simple weekly review, but we're going to get into our next segment, which is going to be top 10. So this is top 10, and for this top 10 segment, I'm going to be going over my top 10 contenders in March Madness this year. So this is going to be like before all the conference tournaments really happen. So like the records and rankings in the conference and stuff like that might change a little bit, but this is my top 10 in March Madness as of right now. Number 10 is going to be Iowa State, who comes into the tournament at 24-7. They're second in the Big 12. Their leading scorer is a guy named Keyshawn Gilbert. He's averaging 13.5 per game. They've looked really good all year, and they've played like that. The biggest wins, or like their best wins of the year, come against teams like Houston, Kansas, and Texas. But they've also lost to teams like Virginia Tech, BYU, and Kansas State. So a lot of teams, it's not always about the record or where you're at in the conference or anything like that. It's also about how many, they call it quad 1 wins and quad 2, quad 3, quad 4s, quality of wins basically, how good the team is. And Iowa State has a few quad 1 wins, but they have a few bad losses like a Virginia Tech and a BYU. Not great losses to have. At number 9 for me, I'm going to put Creighton. They've got the duo of Baylor Shireman, who comes in averaging 18.5, and Ryan Kalkbrenner as well. They're sitting at 23-8 and second in the Big East. Creighton, again, it's one of those teams that I've been high on all year, but they've been so up and down. But but I feel they're still a contender, right? I mean, March, anything can happen, so I believe that Creighton deserves to be in this list. Their best wins of the year coming against teams like Alabama, UConn, and Marquette, but they have some of the best wins, right? UConn and Marquette are some of the best teams in the country. They have some of the worst losses as well to teams like Colorado State, UNLV, DePaul, and St. John's. Not a great resume, but I think they're going to come in at about a 4 seed, I would think. So I think they have a pretty good shot. At number 8 is a team that I've talked about basically every week. I think we've picked a game for them every single week. It's Kentucky, who sits at 23-8, second in the SEC. Their leading scorer is Antonio Reeves, averaging just over 20 points a game. But guys like Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepard, those guys have played excellent all year, the freshman duo. And I really, really like this team. Their best wins, teams like Miami, North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. But they also have some interesting losses like UNC Wilmington, Florida, South Carolina, Texas A&M, LSU. Again, coming in with 8 losses, one of the higher loss amounts out of all these people on this list. But they're also a young team, and I still like them a lot, and I think they can go deep this year. Arizona is my number 17. They come in at 24-7 and first in the Pac-12, which is last year the Pac-12. So to say that you win it in last year, that'd be pretty cool for them. Caleb Love obviously transferred in from UNC, and he's averaging 18-7 on the year. And he's played great. Obviously, I know all about him, and I know what Arizona did to Duke this year. Obviously, that's Arizona's best win is Duke. They don't really have any other big team wins. So it's a little interesting just to see that Arizona only has Duke as their quad 1 win. They don't really have anybody else, but they have losses to Florida Atlantic, which is not a terrible team, but they're not what they were last year. They lost to Washington State twice this year, Oregon State and USC at the end of the year. So again, interesting resumes for a lot of these teams, as is this one right here. This is my team. This is Duke. Duke sits at 6 for me. Obviously, I want them to win the whole thing. I'd be very happy. That's my ultimate goal as a fan, right? You want your team to win the whole thing. But ranking-wise, there's a lot of teams that they can't go ahead of, and maybe they should have been ahead of Arizona since Arizona beat Duke, but I feel like Duke's a better team now than they were then, sitting at 24-7, second in the ACC. Kyle Filipowski leads them in scoring at 16.7 a game. Their best win of the year was Baylor, and Baylor has kind of fallen off. Duke doesn't, another team like Arizona, they don't really have any big-time wins. They've played a lot of teams that have been ranked, but not Big Ten, they're just not, they're not big-time wins. A lot of, the ACC is not very good this year. You usually have teams it's Duke, Carolina, Virginia, Miami, Louisville, Syracuse, Clemson. All these teams are sitting around the top 25, and this year it's literally Duke and Carolina. Virginia was there for a little bit, and that's basically it. Miami fell off. There's no good ACC teams. It's very just Duke, Carolina, and the rest is pretty bad. Duke's worst losses coming to Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Wake Forest, and North Carolina twice, which aren't North Carolina twice isn't bad, but you get swept by your rival. That's not a good thing. Speaking of them, at number 5, it is North Carolina. Obviously, I have to put them ahead of Duke because of what they did to Duke this year. Coming in at 25-6, first in the ACC. RJ Davis had a crazy year, ACC Player of the Year, averaging 21.1 a game. Obviously, they got Baycott, they got Cormac Ryan, Harrison Ingram. That team's really good, as much as that hurts me to say. They're better than Duke right now, and they've proven that in 2 games. So that hurts, but it's true. Their best wins, Tennessee and Duke twice, which obviously Tennessee is a really good team, so to get that win is good. They've lost to Villanova, Georgia Tech, Clemson, Syracuse, are their lesser wins. That's not all of their losses, but that's the worst caliber losses. Again, Carolina's proved all year, especially recently, they've really stepped up and played really good. North Carolina can easily make a deep run. They'll probably be a 2 seed, but they could sneak into a 1 seed if they get lucky. Tournament-wise, if somebody in the conference tournaments were to lose, a Tennessee or Purdue, they could maybe slide to a 1 seed. But I expect them to be a 2 seed. At number 4, this gets into my real title. I think these 4 are they're probably the 1 seeds, and they're the people that I would think would win this. At number 4, it's kind of hard to rank all 3 of these teams because they're all 4 of these teams, and they're all very close. But at number 4, I'm going to put Tennessee, coming in at 24-7. First in the SEC, they got Dalton Knecht, who has 21.4 a game. He's played really good. He transferred in this year. Their best wins coming to Illinois, Kentucky, Alabama. They lost to South Carolina, Mississippi State. Obviously, every team has those losses that they wish they could get back. But Tennessee just feels like a team that's really, really good right now, and I would watch out for them because they are. I put them at 4, but I really, really like Tennessee as well. At number 3, it's Houston. We know they've been ranked high all year. They're coming in at 28-3, first in the Big 12. L.J. Cryer, he transferred in. He's averaging 15.7 a game. Their wins are Iowa State and Kansas, but they've also lost to TCU and Kansas, so they split that series with Kansas. They killed them one time, they lost them the other, so it's kind of, Houston's been very streaky, only with 3 losses, but it seems like they either demolish somebody or it's a really close game, and it's never, it's one or the other. And number 2 for me is the only Big Ten team on this list. It's Purdue, sitting at 28-3. We obviously know what Zach Edey's doing, 24.2 a game. They're first in the Big Ten because the Big Ten is not bad, but it seems like they don't have a lot of ranked teams. It's kind of like Purdue, and then it falls off, and you get like Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern, Illinois, Ohio State, those teams. Wins-wise, they beat Marquette, Tennessee, Arizona, and Illinois. Big time win, but they lost to Nebraska, who at the time was not where they're at right now. They were not even like projected to be in March, and now they're there basically. If they hold out, they're the 2 seed. Nebraska, the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament, I think. But they lost to Nebraska. They lost to Ohio State and Northwestern. So some Big Ten losses. That's all of them. All 3 of them were to the Big Ten schools. Purdue is just I don't know. Purdue is a really good team, but the reason I didn't put them number 1 is because I don't think they're as well rounded as my number 1 team. I think this is a very Zach Edey heavy squad, and if you can get him out of the game, you got a good chance of winning that. At number 1, it's going to be UConn. I think they're poised to easily win this thing. They could go back to back. That would be huge for them. Coming in at 28-3, first in the Big East. Their leading scorer is Tristan Newton, averaging 15 a game. Their best wins to Carolina, Texas, Gonzaga, Marquette. They lost to Kansas and Seton Hall. UConn is a really good team, and I think the only thing that they have left to prove is just go win it this year, and then they're one of the best teams in a while because winning back-to-back is crazy, and they brought back basically everybody. It's essentially the same team, and they're just really good, and that's why I've got them at my number 1 spot as a contender in March. So that's been top 10. Let's move into our final segment of the day, which is going to be game time. So this is game time. I'm here by myself making some picks in the NBA and college basketball. We're going to start with the NBA. We got my Warriors playing the Lakers. That's an easy dub for the Warriors. Not really though, because Steph Curry got injured. He sprained his ankle again, so I'm going to have to go with Golden State to win this one. But the Lakers are a good team, and we'll see if LeBron sits out, because last time they had a game, he did sit out. But I'm going to take the Warriors. Then we got the Knicks playing the Kings. I'm going to go ahead and take the Kings in this one. At home, De'Aaron Fox has looked really good. I think the Kings win that one. The Suns playing the Bucks. I'm going to take Giannis and the Bucks at home. I know it's an interesting pick because the Suns are playing really good right now, but I'm going to take the Bucks. Then we got the Nuggets playing the Mavericks. I'm going to take Jokic. That'll be a really good Western Conference matchup. The Nuggets aren't the best team out west because that's the Thunder, so never mind. But I'm going to take Jokic there. Hawks playing the Clippers. I'm going to take the Clips. They're playing really, really good. The Hawks not a very good team, honestly. They just have Trae Young, and the Clippers are a really well-rounded team, so I'm going to take the Clippers. In college basketball, we've got the 5 major conferences for the last time in college sports, basically. And I'm just going to tell you who I have winning each of those conferences. So, in the Big Ten, the obvious pick is Purdue. And I'm going to take Purdue. I just don't think, I know they lost earlier in the season to, Nebraska, Ohio State, Northwestern. But I just don't think anybody's going to be able to stop Zach Edey. And they will win the Big Ten. In the ACC, I'm going to take Duke. Wow, what a surprise. But honestly, I think the ACC it's going to be Carolina-Duke again. And Duke gets their revenge, hopefully. In the Big 12, man, it's a really interesting one. I'm going to take, I know they've been cold recently, I'm going to take Kansas to win the Big 12, just because I think they will get it figured out. They're still a team that is really, really good, and they will win. They'll basically make their mark, that they're still relevant. They haven't completely fallen off. In the Pac-12, oh man. The Pac-12. I mean, it has to be Arizona, right? it really does have to be Arizona. Caleb Love's playing so good right now, and that team is I'm thinking about that. That's Arizona. And finally, in the SEC, there's so many teams you could pick, honestly, and you couldn't be mad at any of them. Tennessee is obviously a team that you could pick. You could take Kentucky. I'm going to take Tennessee. I know I basically took all the 1 seeds, which is not normally what's going to happen, but I think Dalton Connect's playing so good right now for Tennessee. I think they win. No team, Kentucky maybe gives them a run, maybe Alabama does, but I'm going to take Tennessee there to win the final Power 5 tournaments, because Pac-12's gone, and then all of them are going to start falling apart, basically, right? So last year of conference tournaments that have, you say the Power 5, that is the Power 5, but Pac-12's gone now, so you win it, like Arizona, you win the final Pac-12 tournament ever. That's a pretty cool thing to say, but so it's been game time, and this has been my sports segment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
And I'm Kai Alman.
And we're the Pawcast. Let's start with the birthday shoutouts. Happy birthday this week to 6th grader Tony Allers, 1st grader Eric Anderson, 6th grader Sloan Flanagan.
2nd grader Emery Ferguson, 5th grader Journey Shaver, and 3rd grader Kai Shalect.
Happy birthday to you.
Mrs. Myers kept the quote with, "Let your energy be used to build, not destroy." And the winner was, drumroll please, 6th grader Austin Seapool.
Great job, Austin. This week's quote is, "What wisdom can you find that is greater than the kindness?"
And now for some highlights on what's been going on in the elementary. The 2nd graders are learning about plant and animal needs in science and the life cycles of plants and animals.
The 5th graders have been going through the DARE program with Officer John Shaver. As they are nearing the end of the program, they are writing a DARE report to be turned in to both Officer Shaver and Mrs. Hall.
The 4th graders have been researching animals for their informational reports. They finished their final drafts this last week and will be working on their text feature poster to hang in the hallway sometime this week.
The 4th graders' opinion reports on which president is better, George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, are finished and hanging in the hallway for you to check them out.
Let's take a look at the calendar. Monday, March 18th, there's youth volleyball practice at 6 to 7:30 p.m.
Thursday, March 21st, there is again youth volleyball practice at 3:45 through 5:15 p.m.
Friday, March 22nd is the Hall Enrichment Day in Bartlett. 5th and 6th grade Hall students will be traveling to Bartlett for a fun-filled day of enrichment activities.
Do you have any jokes today, Kat?
Why couldn't the bike stand up on its own? Because it was tired.
Why are balloons so expensive? Inflation.
Well, that's all for this week. Remember, friends, choose kindness.
Act responsibly.
Treat others with respect.
Stay safe. I'm sorry.
And I'm Kai Alvin, and we're the Pawcast.